Before we dive in, let me leave you with a truth that echoes across every chapter in human history. Nothing we are began in silence. Every civilization, every story, every ancestor left a trail of wisdom waiting to be rediscovered. What you are about to hear is a part of a legacy, preserved, decoded, and brought back to the forefront. I'm OG Mooney. Welcome to AI Legacy Lab.
To understand the story of Pop Smoke, you have to go back to Canarsie, Brooklyn. This is a place where life has its own unique rhythm, a rhythm shaped by tight-knit communities, the energy of young people finding their way, and a culture built on sound, movement, and a shared identity. It was in this world that Basher Baraka Jackson grew up. Long before the world knew him as Pop Smoke, he was just Pop, a kid soaking in everything around him. He listened to the music that poured out of cars, apartments, and block parties. He absorbed the rhythms, the voices, and the stories that were part of everyday life in his neighborhood. This environment wasn't just his home. It was his first and most important teacher. From a young age, Basher had a certain presence. He was confident, charming, and had a natural ability to lead. People were drawn to him. He had a deep appreciation for style, for the way people moved, and for the power that comes when people unite. Whether it was on the basketball court, where he once dreamed of a pro career, or just hanging out with friends, he had a magnetic energy. He moved through his school days and faced the early responsibilities of growing up. But all along, there was something else inside him. A voice, a deep, commanding voice that was just waiting for the right moment, the right spark to be heard by the world. It was a voice that held the weight and wisdom of his surroundings. The world of music wasn't something he stumbled into. When Basher decided to step into the studio, he did it with a calm focus and a steady discipline that surprised many. It was as if he'd been preparing for this his entire life. He took the deep, bass-heavy energy of his streets, the sounds he grew up with, and fused it with the raw, aggressive energy of UK drill music. The result was something entirely new, a sound that was instantly recognizable and undeniably Brooklyn. He called it the Woo. When he released his first tracks, the connection was immediate. Listeners didn't just hear a new artist. They heard the spirit of their city. They felt the strength of youth and saw the promise of someone who could change the entire atmosphere of a room, a party, a movement, just by speaking into the microphone. His rise was meteoric, almost unbelievably fast. Tracks like Welcome to the Party and Dior became anthems, not just in Brooklyn, but across the globe. His signature ad-libs, the Woo and the GRRR, became part of the cultural lexicon. What made him so special? It was the authenticity. Pop Smoke didn't just rap about the streets. He embodied them. His music was a direct reflection of his life, his struggles, and his triumphs. The gravelly, deep tone of his voice was unique, but it was the confidence behind it that was so captivating. It was a confidence born from his environment, from knowing who he was and where he came from. He wasn't playing a character. He was being himself, and people respected that. He quickly became more than just a rapper. He was a cultural icon. He brought a new energy to the New York rap scene, a scene that had been searching for its next definitive voice. Pop Smoke became that voice. He represented a new generation, one that was unapologetic, ambitious, and ready to take over. His style, his swagger, and his sound influenced countless artists who came after him. He was a bridge, connecting the raw energy of Brooklyn drill with the mainstream. He collaborated with a wide range of artists from Travis Scott to Quavo to Skepta, showing his versatility and his vision for where music could go. He was breaking down barriers and creating a global movement. But beyond the tough exterior and the aggressive sound, there was another side to Basher Jackson. Friends and family describe him as someone with a big heart, a playful spirit, and an infectious laugh. He was a leader in his community, always looking out for his people. He had a vision that extended far beyond music. He wanted to get into acting, fashion, and business. He saw his success not just as a personal victory, but as a way to lift up everyone around him. He understood the responsibility that came with his platform and was determined to use it for good. He was a young man with an old soul, carrying the hopes and dreams of his neighborhood on his shoulders. His journey was a testament to the power of self-belief and the importance of staying true to your roots. Pop Smoke took the sounds and stories of Canarsie and turned them into a global phenomenon. He showed the world the vibrant, creative energy that exists in neighborhoods often overlooked. He was a product of his environment, but he also transcended it, becoming a symbol of what's possible when talent meets determination. He had a rare ability to make you feel like you were right there with him, experiencing the highs and lows of his life. His music was a soundtrack for a generation, a source of energy, and a reminder of the power of a unique voice. The story of Pop Smoke is one of immense talent and even greater potential. In just a short time, he created a legacy that will endure for generations. He didn't just make songs. He created a feeling, an energy, a movement. The sound he pioneered continues to evolve and inspire artists all over the world. When you listen to his music today, you can still feel that raw, unfiltered energy. You can hear the confidence, the ambition, and the spirit of a young man from Brooklyn who dared to dream big. He showed us that a single voice, if it's authentic and powerful enough, can truly shape the world. His time with us was brief, but the impact he made was immeasurable. Pop Smoke's journey into music wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate move into a new world, one where he found his true purpose. He wasn't just making songs. He was building a legacy, piece by piece, through sheer repetition and endless hours in the studio. This wasn't a solo mission. He surrounded himself with a tight-knit crew of Black collaborators, producers, and friends who shared his vision, his relentless drive, and that same raw energy. They weren't just colleagues. They were a brotherhood, united by a common identity and a shared goal. This collective energy became the bedrock of his music, creating an environment where creativity could flourish without limits. The studio was his sanctuary, his laboratory. It was here, in these spaces, that Pop Smoke honed his craft with meticulous dedication. Long nights bled into early mornings, fueled by the desire to get it right. He would listen back to takes over and over, dissecting every bar, every ad-lib, every pause. It was a process of constant refinement. He focused intently on the technical aspects of his art, his timing, his delivery, his presence on the track. He learned how to command a beat, not just ride it. This wasn't about finding a magic formula or waiting for a sudden spark of inspiration. It was about grinding, practicing, and patiently chipping away until each track was polished to perfection. This relentless work ethic is what separated him from the rest. He understood that greatness is built, not born. His voice. That voice became his signature, an unmistakable force of nature. It was deep, guttural, and carried the weight of his entire neighborhood. When you heard Pop Smoke, you heard Canarsie, Brooklyn. His voice was a grounded, anchoring force. A steady rhythm that cut through even the most complex and chaotic beats. It had this incredible layered tone, a mix of gravelly texture and smooth confidence that was both intimidating and magnetic. It wasn't just what he said, but how he said it. The sound was built on movement, on texture, on a pulse that felt alive. It was the sound of the streets, the sound of late-night drives, the sound of a generation ready to make its mark. The producers he worked with were more than just beat makers. They were his co-architects. He formed incredibly strong bonds with people like 808 Mello, who understood the exact atmosphere he wanted to create. They were on the same wavelength. They could translate his vision into sound, building soundscapes that were the perfect canvas for his voice. These weren't generic beats. They were tailor-made, weaving together elements of UK drill with the raw energy of New York. Together, they sculpted a sound that was both hyperlocal, echoing the specific vibe of his block, and global, reaching far beyond the 5 boroughs. This collaboration was key. It was a true partnership that allowed the music to evolve organically, pushing boundaries while staying true to its roots. Pop Smoke's rise wasn't a fluke. It wasn't built on viral moments or shortcuts. It was the direct result of his unwavering dedication and attention to detail. The long nights, the constant practice, the obsession with getting every element just right, it all paid off. His music grew steadily, organically, gaining momentum with each release. He wasn't chasing trends. He was setting them. The sound he and his team created became more than just music. It became a recognizable movement. It was a cultural shift. His voice, his energy, and his stories resonated with people from all walks of life, across the country and even across oceans. Think about it. People who had never set foot in Brooklyn felt like they knew his world. They connected with the authenticity, the confidence, the sheer power of his music. He was building a world, one song at a time, and inviting everyone in. His tracks became anthems, the soundtrack to a new era. The energy was infectious. You couldn't hear a Pop Smoke song without feeling that surge of adrenaline, that undeniable swagger. He captured a feeling, a moment in time, and immortalized it in his music. What's truly remarkable is how he managed to create such a distinct and powerful identity in such a short period. His artistic evolution was rapid, but also incredibly focused. He knew exactly who he was and what he wanted his music to represent. He wasn't trying to be anyone else. He was unapologetically Pop Smoke. This clarity of vision is what made his sound so cohesive and impactful. From Welcome to the Party to Dior, each track felt like a new chapter in the same epic story. He was a master of presence. When his voice dropped on a track, everything else fell into place. He had this unique ability to make you feel like he was right there in the room with you, telling you his story directly. This intimate yet powerful delivery created a profound connection with his listeners. It wasn't just background music. It was an experience. You didn't just listen to Pop Smoke. You felt him. This immersive quality is a huge part of why his music continues to resonate so deeply with so many people, even after he's gone. His legacy is a testament to the power of hard work, collaboration, and staying true to yourself. He showed an entire generation of artists what's possible when you combine raw talent with an unstoppable work ethic. He didn't just create songs. He created a blueprint. The sound he pioneered continues to influence artists all over the world. He proved that you could be deeply rooted in your local identity while still achieving global appeal. He built a bridge between different worlds, connecting them through the universal language of rhythm and bass. Ultimately, Pop Smoke's story is one of transformation. He transformed himself from a kid from Canarsie into a global superstar. He transformed the sound of rap music, injecting it with a new energy and a new flavor. And he transformed the lives of his listeners, giving them a voice and a soundtrack for their own ambitions. The world he was building, one song at a time, became a place where millions found a sense of connection and belonging. And that world, that sound, that energy will live on forever. As Pop Smoke pushed forward, his presence grew with a calm, steady momentum. More and more listeners started connecting to the energy, the identity, and the vision he poured into his music. He was constantly on the move, traveling, recording, performing, and all the while, he was building relationships that only strengthened his sense of purpose. But through it all, he never lost the rhythm that grounded him right from the start. He was focused always on representing Brooklyn, the people he came from, and the style that shaped him. He carried himself with an undeniable confidence, but also with discipline. He was keenly aware that he was becoming a voice for a generation that moved through life with determination, strength, and a deep sense of unity. His work in the studio continued at a consistent, relentless pace. He was always refining his sound, always preparing for new projects that would elevate his artistry to the next level. And even as his visibility exploded, he brought with him that same spirit of leadership, connection, and raw authenticity that had defined his early years back in Canarsie. This wasn't just about fame for him. It was about building something real, something that would last. He wasn't just making tracks. He was crafting anthems for his city, for his people. He had this unique ability to capture the raw, unfiltered essence of the streets and translate it into a sound that resonated globally. The UK drill scene was a major influence, but he didn't just copy it. He took that sound, that energy, and he remixed it with the swag and grit of Brooklyn. He made it his own. The result was something entirely new, a sound that felt both familiar and revolutionary at the same time. His voice, deep and gravelly, was his signature. It was a voice that commanded attention, a voice that could be menacing one moment and celebratory the next. It cut through every beat, every ad-lib, making you feel every word. When you heard a Pop Smoke track, you knew it was him from the very first bar. That unmistakable woo became a calling card, a signal that you were about to hear something special. It was more than just an ad-lib. It was a declaration, a rallying cry that brought people together. And the people did rally. His shows were electric. You could feel the ground shake when his music came on. It was a collective experience, a testament to the movement he was building. He had this magnetic stage presence, a natural charisma that drew you in. He wasn't just performing songs. He was leading a congregation. He connected with his audience on a personal level because they saw themselves in him. They saw his hunger, his ambition, and his unwavering loyalty to his roots. He was a leader, not just in music, but in his community. He never forgot where he came from. He was always looking out for his team, for his neighborhood. He carried the hopes and dreams of Canarsie on his shoulders, and he did it with pride. He showed a whole generation of kids that it was possible to make it out, to achieve your dreams, without losing who you are. He was proof that your background, your story, was your strength. The collaborations he made were strategic, but they were also genuine. He worked with artists from all over the world, bridging gaps between different scenes and cultures. He was a connector, a unifier. He had a vision for what his music could be, and he was fearless in pursuing it. He wasn't afraid to experiment, to push boundaries. He was constantly evolving, yet he always stayed true to his core sound. His impact continued to grow, not just through the music he created, but through the movement he inspired. He brought a sense of pride back to his borough. A feeling that Brooklyn was once again at the center of the hip-hop universe. People saw in him a reflection of themselves, their struggles, their triumphs, their resilience. He was their champion. Even after his tragic passing, his legacy lives on. It lives on in the sound he helped shape, a sound that continues to influence artists all over the world. It lives on in the foundation he built, the doors he opened for other drill artists to walk through. And it lives on in the lasting influence of a young artist who took the rhythm of his community and shared it with the world. His story is a reminder of the power of authenticity. Pop Smoke was unapologetically himself, and that's why people were drawn to him. He didn't try to be anyone else. He was the Woo, and his spirit continues to echo through the streets of Brooklyn and beyond. His music is timeless because the feelings it evokes, pride, unity, determination, are universal. He created more than just songs. He created a feeling, a moment in time that will never be forgotten. His light may have been extinguished far too soon, but the fire he lit continues to burn brightly. The albums released after his death, like Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, showcases incredible versatility. We got to see a different side of him, a more melodic, romantic side. It proved that he wasn't just a drill rapper. He was a true artist, capable of crossing genres and conquering charts. The album was a global phenomenon, a bittersweet celebration of a talent that was only just beginning to blossom. It was a glimpse into the superstardom he was destined for. His influence is undeniable. You hear it in the music of countless artists who have followed in his footsteps. He changed the sound of New York rap, bringing a new energy and a new wave of talent to the forefront. He put Brooklyn drill on the map and made it a global force. But more than that, he inspired a generation to be proud of who they are and where they come from. He showed them that with hard work, dedication, and a clear vision, anything is possible. Pop Smoke's story is one of incredible talent, fierce ambition, and profound impact. In a very short time, he became a legend. He was a king, a leader, a visionary. He was the smoke that will never clear. His name will forever be synonymous with the revival of New York hip-hop, and his music will continue to inspire and move people for generations to come. He carried the rhythm of his community into the world, and the world will never be the same. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more stories about the artists who shape our world.
Another chapter reclaimed, another piece of history placed back where it belongs. If you have found any meaning in this, let it sit with you. Let it sharpen your vision, not just for the past, but for who we are becoming. I'm OG Mooney, and this is AI Legacy Lab. Honoring truth, protecting legacy, one story at a time. Until next time, stay curious.